Hello and welcome, my name is Andreas Dick. As part of my videos on esoteric Christianity, I would like to introduce you to the interpretation of the parables of Jesus in the New Testament by the Greek Cypriot mystic Stylianos Ateshlis, called Daskalos. In his wonderful little book, The Parables and Other Stories, Ateshlis comments on many of the well-known parables as they were allegedly told by Jesus. In the Gospel of Mark, we are informed that Jesus never spoke publicly except in parables, but privately he explained everything to his disciples. The interpretation of Jesus' parables from the New Testament by Daskalos is excellent for an introduction to esoteric Christianity. In this video, we are exploring two parables, the parable of the wheat and the tares, and the parable of the talents. Let me make a brief but important remark before we begin. I am not officially representing the system for the research of the truth as taught by Stylianos Ateshlis. I am merely presenting his teachings as made available by him in books and public lectures. This video should not be used for any kind of commercial purpose or to collect any funds with it. Let's start with the parable of the wheat and the tares from Matthew chapter 13, verses 24 to 30 in the King James Version. The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up, and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field? From whence then hath it tared? He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servants said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest, and in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. In the following verses it is said that the disciples came to Jesus and asked him to explain this parable. Jesus replied that the sower of the good seed was the Son of Man, the field was the world, the good seed were the children of the kingdom, the tares were the children of the evil one, the enemy or the devil who sowed the tares in the field. Jesus went on to explain that the harvest was the end of time, and the reapers were the angels who will throw all whose deeds are evil into the blazing furnace, the place of wailing and grinding of teeth. Jesus ends his explanation of the parable by saying, And then the righteous will shine as brightly as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. For Daskalos, this was a very precious parable. He says that the field or the world can also mean our present-day personality with all of its elementals. Bad or evil elementals cannot be plucked out without destroying the good ones as well. We should therefore let both of them grow, because the time of harvest will come and what is good will be acknowledged. But what is evil will also be revealed. The archangels will sort out what is good from each person and will disenergize evil elementals. Jesus makes reference here to the law of destiny. According to this law, Daskalos explains, the archangel of fire and reason, Michael, will burn every evil elemental. Daskalos emphasizes that we should not think of this selection as keeping good and burning bad spirits, since all spirits are good. Only their behavior can be considered bad, and oftentimes it is not easy to tell what lies behind these actions. The ripening of the seeds will eventually show. We will now turn to the second parable, the parable of the talents. A talent was a unit of measurement for weighing precious metals like silver and gold, and weighed about 75 pounds. In this parable, Jesus compares the kingdom of heaven to a man going abroad who calls his servants and puts his capital in their hands. To one of them he gives 5 bags of gold, to another 2, and to the third one only 1, each according to his capacity. After the man has left the country, The servant with 5 bags employs them in business and makes a good profit of 5 bags. The servant who has the 2 bags makes 2 more. But the servant who was given only 1 bag of gold goes off and digs a hole in the ground, where he hides his master's money. After some time the master returns and proceeds to settle accounts. The servant who was given the 5 bags of gold produces the 5 he made. "Well done, my good and trusty servant," says the master. "You have proved trustworthy in a small way. I will now put you in charge of something big. Come and share your master's delight." The servant with the 2 bags then comes and shows his profit. "Well done, my good and trusty servant," says the master. "You have proved trustworthy in a small way. I will now put you in charge of something big. Come and share in your master's delight." Then the servant who was given 1 bag comes forward and says, "Master, I know you to be a hard man. You reap where you have not sown. You gather where you have not scattered. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your gold in the ground. Here it is. You have what belongs to you."
"You lazy rascal," the master shouts. "You knew that I reap where I have not sown, and gather where I have not scattered. Then you ought to have put my money on deposit, and on my return I should have got it back with interest. Take the bag of gold from him and give it to the one with the 10 bags, for the man who has will always be given more till he has enough to spare, and the man who has not will forfeit even what he has. Fling the useless servant out into the dark, the place of wailing and grinding of teeth."
One more parable in which we hear about the place of wailing and grinding of teeth. Unfortunately, the church and many priests have threatened people with hell, burning fires, and eternal agonies based on text passages like this one. However, in Daskalos's interpretation, this parable loses its judgmental gloom, although it certainly gives a warning. According to Daskalos, the 5 bags of gold are the material body, the etheric double of the material body, the psychic body, the etheric double of the psychic body, and the noetic body, which does not have an etheric double, as it is simply composed of mind. The first servant developed these 5 bodies in higher planes of consciousness beyond the universes. The master's delight stands for the joy of the divinity in creating universes. This servant is therefore given a more responsible position in carrying out the divine plan. The second servant was given 2 talents, a material body and a psychic body. Having added 2 more talents means that the servant also made a full mind body, not only the lower mind body, but even a higher mind body, or causal body, as it is sometimes called. He too gets rewarded with a more responsible position within the divine plan. Building a full mind body from a physical and a psychic body lifts us from subconsciousness, or a certain consciousness, to our self-consciousness and self-superconsciousness, according to Daskalos. He refers here to self-realization, realizing that we are gods or archangels. What about the servant who hid his 1 talent in the ground? This stands for a life in which we have been given a material body, of which we make no other use than to go deeper down into the physical world. A life dedicated only to material things. This explains the dissatisfaction of the master, who might represent our higher self of permanent personality. The place of wailing and grinding of teeth is nothing else than the material universe, according to Daskalos. It means that there is a need for another incarnation in order to make some kind of profit or to learn a lesson. Daskalos finishes his contemplation on this parable with the following words. This is a parable which reveals much of the truth about creation and the place of a man with his bodies in God's creation. Let us summarize. 1. The harmful or unfavorable elementals of the present-day personality should not be radically plucked out, because this will also destroy good elementals and lead to a life in misery. We should try to create beneficial elementals while at the same time accepting our human deficiencies. 2. At the end of time, that is when we have left our physical body after death and gone over to higher worlds, the archangels will eventually sort out what is good from each person and will disenergize what is detrimental. 3. Making good use of our present life means integrating our physical and emotional nature through the gift of reason, thus creating a fully developed mind. The more we take responsibility for further developing our own human nature, the less we will be a helpless victim of destiny. Eventually we will realize that our true nature is divine, and that we can participate in the joy of creation. I hope this video was beneficial for you. Please hit the like button if you found it useful. Subscribe for more insights and exciting content. Thank you so much for being a part of this transformational journey. May you be blessed with good health and serenity, today and always.